Okay, let's start off here on the daily. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. What's the daily showing us? Well, as you know, yesterday was the US election result, right? So massive bearish candle, positive news for the dollar because their new leader is decided, right? So that brings stability. So we had dollar rally. So we've broken through loads of lows, taken loads of buy side liquidity as well here on DXY. So we've come above the previous weekly high, obviously, above these previous highs here, above this previous high here, into actually a daily fair value gap, right? Which could prove as some resistance, at least in the short term, for DXY. Okay, we've taken plenty of sell side liquidity below these lows and some lower time frame lows as well here on EU. Right, so we're definitely within a discount at this moment in time. So naturally, I think for price to retract and head back towards a premium, just from looking at this daily and always after a news driven event, especially one that's going to leave huge imbalance, right? So lower time frame is going to be full of a massive imbalance, and we're very much within that discount, like I said, with a huge bearish leg. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So we have a very obvious scene here on the 4 hour. Election day into the results overnight. We took out this entire liquidity trend line here. We've come down, taken more sell side liquidity, found support at these lows here. You can see the candles holding this area. From this high to this low, I'm measuring as a bearish leg. So we're still within a discount of this 4 hour leg. We have this 4 hour premium with a quite clear 4 hour order block, right? So I don't need to draw that out. We have a lot of price to fill, right? To come up into that zone here. Same on DXY. We have a clear bullish leg. We're clearly in a premium, and we have a discount imbalance and order block POI, right, where price also left a gap behind as well for us to make our way towards. So a draw on price up here and below here is very clear for me, and we're clearly in the discount and the premium here. We're moving bullish somewhat towards those areas, so it might come back correctively. I think the 4 hour is obvious. So let's go down to the 1 hour and have a look at that as well. So on the 1 hour, we're starting to see those early confirmations of that bullish pullback. Okay, so same leg in my opinion, but internally now, where we had this lower high to lower low, right? Clearer here on the 1 hour, right? Breaking below this low. We then made another lower high, then a higher low. And then now we've gone on to make a higher high above this high, internal to this external bearish leg. So you can see how the pullback's forming, that we're making higher highs internally here. The same is happening internally on DXY also, right? With the high high, higher low, lower high, lower low. We have a 1 hour order block POI here, which is sort of in the middle of the leg. So it's still a draw on price. I've drawn it out as some sort of short-term support possibly. I still think we'd probably go lower to fill this area, but we may or may not. Okay, so price is going to be drawn towards this premium 1 hour order block area up here with imbalance, right? Imbalance is here on the way, so we may see again resistance once these are filled and once this is filled. So that's why I've noted that there. So the main takeaways are we can see that bullish structure coming into play, possibly internally. We've taken the buy side liquidity above it, so you can see that that may cause some sort of pullback, right? And that may create a higher low to go on and create another higher high, right? That would be where I would assume if we are to continue this internal structure here. So I think that looks good. So my bias is obviously for longs from these discounts to come and fill these gaps on news. Obviously I'm going to be vigilant of the buy side liquidity and how it treats price, but I'll be patient as well for structure to give me signals for it to go back towards this premium, and that's where my bias will be leaning towards until we're probably back up into this area or something obvious happens like a new lower low. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that may look like. So for me currently, I don't see anything that I'd want to trade just yet, which is fine. We can see that M15 order flow is switching. That's that internal 1 hour order flow I was talking about. We've made a higher high above this high here, right, with this high low. But this price action here is just overnight candles, right? Nothing really explosive happening just yet. So what would I want to see? Let's assume this area here, for example, holds where London has opened and some small momentum has come up into the market, taking out this high. I want to see some further order flow come into the market, so it doesn't matter how far it comes down for me, but let's say we just come down, hold this zone here. What I want to see is then us to break above this structure here. So for me, that break of structure would be a continuation of this order flow, show that price is being drawn towards, say, the buy side liquidity highs, and then ultimately this premium up here. Okay, and then we'll get our pullback now after that to our possible lower time frame imbalance and order block here, right, where I want to see momentum come from, hopefully after sweeping some internal lows possibly. So I don't mind if it comes down lower and takes out these lows, but I want to see that impulsive move, right, where we leave behind an imbalance, break out to make that high, then pull back to that order block to then continue going to the upside. So this would be what I would want to see. I want to see, you know, another couple highs just break above. So one high here, second high, and then I'd be looking to see what price looks like to come down and trade from this area here. Stop loss just below the low, hopefully a low that has swept some internal liquidity to aim towards that premium, right? So break of structure above this high again to show that continuation, possible corrective pullback to our order block area here where our order set to go long. So that's preferably something that I want to see. Okay, I want to see DXY do similar as well, break down again. So we could come back further maybe to these zones here. It may happen in the New York session, I'm not sure, but I want to see order flow. I want to see price break above another high to go back towards that premium. That will give me a bit more confidence in this. So that's everything for me on EU. So let's move on. All right, here we are on GBPJPY, so GJ. We're on the daily chart. What's the daily showing us? Yesterday, clear bullish day. We would be right back up into the premium of possibly this lower time frame leg here. We have just about swept the previous daily high today, so we do have buy side liquidity, but resting above that is still a previous weekly high, and we were in a bullish sort of trend here. So we may just continue on to make new higher highs, but I have to acknowledge this previous daily high. We haven't moved loads this morning. Okay, we're just currently a sort of indecisive doji after taking that buy side liquidity. So I think the lower time frames will tell a better story. So I'll be patient with it, and I'll see what the structure looks like on the lower time frame to see where it looks like we're heading. But given the high time frame narrative, we do still have imbalances to draw price into. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we go higher or take our previous weekly high before making any move lower. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Also, as you can see, there's quite large news announcements right from the Bank of England today. So interest rates projected to go down. That's some news we'll have to look out for. That's going to happen around, you know, midday. So definitely have to avoid that time here for that volatility. Right, we had our bearish 4 hour leg. We are now right up into this premium of this leg here, right, into the extreme of this candle that swept the buy side liquidities go down. So this essentially is an order block, this entire candle. I haven't drawn it out, but you can clearly see this white candle here, and we're right up into the premium of it. So what we're going to do here, we're going to continue our move downwards to this possible structure, this possible weak low. If we make a lower high here, we've swept buy side liquidity, closed out as a bearish doji over those previous 4 hours. Now 2 hours left of this candle, we do look fairly bearish. But again, there is buy side liquidity above that we may want to sweep. But if we hold this area as well, it really does look good to go down for this weak low here, at least on the 4 hour. But in the short term, I think a bias for shorts does look good at this current time. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see if that confirms that. So on the 1 hour, again, as we know, we are up into this premium up here. You can see the 1 hour structure has been going bullish, right? Whether that's a pullback structure or not to this larger leg, right? It has still been bullish for the time being, making high highs, high lows. Now into Asia today, we made that high low and then higher high, but it was wicked. So we didn't close above this high. We've taken that buy side liquidity and moved lower. And just below, we also have an order block, right, with imbalance, with possible inducement right above it that we may be drawn into. Right, so we may still yet make a higher low from here and then go on to continue our bullish trend. But at the same time, it's also a draw on price, and we've taken buy side liquidity, and we may seek out sell side liquidity maybe below these lows and into this unmitigated POI here. So I think that helps with our bearish bias, but obviously we also have a bullish structure to be careful of. So I do see it as a counter trend essentially in our 1 hour order flow, but we do have a high time frame 4 hour picture behind it. But most importantly, we have buy side liquidity from previous daily high and may seek out sell side liquidity, and we have a draw on price. The bearish bias is definitely still possible, so I would still have a look for that, though I may wait for some confirmations. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that looks like for any trading today. So here's an idea I had this morning. Right, so I've just drawn out, we've got previous daily high buy side liquidity. We've swept that high, we've broken down a bit, right? We've come into London now and then continued to break down. So we've got our internal break of structure here, right? M15 sort of break of structure there as well, but we also went sort of below these lows, wicked below it. So it'll be a better M5 break of structure, but we left behind this order block here without imbalance. So I just mapped it out anyway as a point of possible resistance. Right, so I saw that potential entry around this zone here. So if I go down to the M5, right, you can see why my entry's there. We have an M5 order block, which is really clear here, but I put my stop above the M15 order block there because of this price action here may get swept. Price pulled back nice and correctively, and we are rejecting this zone here. So I haven't entered that, right? That was to plan, but what I want to see now is for me to trade down to this zone here and at least these zones is for price to continue this breakdown, have another break of structure here. So that's what I wanted, that confirmation. Okay, so break of structure below here, then we can pull back to our possible M15 or M5 order block around this zone here where we may get further momentum from after sweeping that previous candle, right, mitigating an M5 order block to continue lower down towards this zone here. So that's what I would want to see. Have this around this zone there, probably put my stop loss just above that wick candle here, right, to trade down towards this zone here for 3%. So that's how I would manage it. Problem is, obviously, we have news coming up in a few hours, so this would need to play out fairly quickly for me. Have that second break of structure around this zone here with our inducement around here, right, order set there to continue lower as a continuation of order flow, heading for sell side liquidity at least below these lows here. I'd be BE by that point as well into this zone here for the 1 hour possible support. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.